Are we back? Are we on the air?
I think so.
Oh, there we are.
There we are. Good morning. Did I just say good morning? Wow, I'm already high. Hey guys, that is already setting the premise for the show. This is going to be a complete waste of your time. But this is why you're here. Ganja Beach Medical Center, the place you want to be if you want to learn me some stuff. Tonight, our topic is how to calm your ass down with CBD suppositories.
Super Gabe, are you ready?
The doctor is in the building. Ladies and gentlemen, hi. This is Ganja Beach Medical Center. I'm your host, Super Gabe Osborne, the eager doctor over there. Everyone knows as Dr. Lonni. And some of you may know her as Main Street Mary Jane from Instagram and Facebook. Let's give a big warm welcome to Megan Panameno.
You even got the last name right. Kudos to you, man. That shit's hard, especially when you're high.
You're absolutely right. But what I did for myself is I wrote your name out phonetically so that way I couldn't mess it up.
Very, very cool. I do that as well.
101. If you're gonna have a radio show, make sure to phonetically write out people's last names so you can pronounce
it. Dude, and it's amazing how many people don't get that memo.
I'm putting it out there, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So, Dr. Lonni, we just talked about CBD suppositories, and what are some of these like usages? Because we were kind of talking about it before the show, but let's dive in.
I love the article that I read.
Pause.
Right, it talks about using this, and it's something that people don't think about. You think about like taking droppers, you think about rubbing it on your skin, but nobody thinks about putting it in your anus or your vagina. And that's something that we need to really kind of pay attention to. I love the way the article started that, but understand that when a person has problems, this is probably the most focal way of delivering the most potent anti-inflammatory drug that we know. It's incredible. The CB2 receptor, when you deliver it directly there, and some people, immune system doesn't process well, so you can't, tolerate high doses of CBD, the liver and what have you. This is a great way of delivering, for, let's say, cancer patients, people that have colorectal cancer or different kinds of feminine problems. Giving you high doses right there, it doesn't get too high. It just goes right into that area. It's a fat-soluble molecule, so it really delivers high doses in that really concentrated area. CBD in particular, no intoxication, but it's one of the most powerful local anti-inflammatory effects for inflamed muscles. So when you start to think of vigorous exercise down there, like in the porn industry, not really making fun. I mean, this is something that when we were in Las Vegas, there was a great panel discussion talking about this. They have lubricants made with CBD, which are awesome for this purpose. So yeah, any thoughts on that?
Very true.
Ganja Beach Medical Center, it's going to soon be called Ganja Beach After Dark.
Medical Center After Dark. I like that.
It is very true. I don't know. I'm sure you're both familiar with RSO or Rick Simpson oil.
Yes.
And that is one of the recommended ways to dose it is rectally. I have an anecdotal story about that. A friend of mine has a dog that was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and given 6 months to live. And I actually started letting him use some RSO. And he does suppository that up the dog's ass every day.
Mm-hmm.
The dog has gone back to the vet and everything is in remittance now.
Oh my God, that's awesome. That's awesome. It's something that when you understand, we have receptors for these incredible, powerful chemicals, and we don't know exactly how it works, but there's something that is to this. This is a story with animals. I have humans where, if you look on my Instagram, you can see pictures of skin cancer where I'm working with people and teaching them how to use Rick Simpson oil for that purpose. concentration of cannabinoids, terpenoids, and flavonoids. That's the key. It's when we first met, the entourage effect. I remember you were talking about that. And that's the beauty, is that people don't understand. You mix this, as my mentor, Dr. Sulak, talks about, the salad of all of these incredible compounds. And one strain, not really the way I like to do it. A mixture, where you're getting this incredible wide net, because we don't have the science to tell like what specific compounds in the plant for this specific type of cancer yet. So this is where you throw out that drug. You're more likely at this point to either help with the traditional therapies. Your body will tolerate higher doses of chemotherapy or radiation with less reaction to it. So you'll be able to, actually gain benefits there. And if you benefit from the actual cancer-fighting properties of the cannabis, it's a win-win situation. We don't have that understanding yet to just say, yeah, go plant medicine full on with something that's life-threatening. Although some people do choose to, and they have good benefit. It's just not something that the science is there to be exact with. I mean, does that make sense to you?
It makes sense to me, yeah.
So, Dr. Lonni, what are some things that can be cured, or like what are some remedies that? Okay, well, the remedy would in this case would be a suppository. So, what are some that it would heal?
What is the question to the answer? Is that what you're asking?
Exactly, 42.
Colorectal cancer. Painful sex, for example. Okay, so when a person has either a male in their urethra or a female in the vagina, and they have painful sex, this is a way of delivering incredible anti-inflammatory effects in that area, if not, on the other end, pleasurable effects. So it's something that can work both ways. I'm not saying that it's something that I'm recommending to try for fun. You can if you'd like, but for people that have real problems down there, it does amazing things. Something with muscle spasms, I would imagine it would help with as well, because you're taking drugs like anti-inflammatories. So anything you would take an ibuprofen for, I think that would be a great thing. And you're not taking a systemic drug, it's just in that area.
Oh, okay.
Any thoughts about that? Megan, what do you think? Any thoughts about that to add to it?
About the absorption methodology with rectal and no, absolutely. It's a fast way to get your medicine, right? Because same with tinctures, they're a great method. You can put a little tincture underneath your tongue, and it's just another method of consumption. I think people think too much about smoking, which is fun. But as far as for purely medical reasons, I think that there are many other methodologies that are a lot safer than smoking it, that are going to give you all the benefits in a very fast and efficient manner.
I like that you mentioned smoking, because
oh yeah, we're allowed to do that, right? I had to double check.
That's right. There we go.
You guys said I wasn't allowed on this show unless I actually got high. So
if you don't get high, you're not allowed on the show. If you cannot fail a drug test, you can't work for us.
Excellent, because my job, they actually made me sign a I won't do drugs waiver.
But this is medicine. It's not drugs. That's
really?
Exactly. I was like, you guys do know what we sell here, right? I mean, they made me the vice president of business development. How else am I supposed to develop the business?
That's right.
Seriously, it's a drug you're working. Oh my God. That is funny. That is funny.
All right.
Now, what's it like?
So,
I'm kind of working in Las Vegas for a cannabis company. I'm sorry, Gabe.
I'm sorry. I was too busy smoking the cannabis. What did you just say?
I was wondering what it's like working in Las Vegas for a cannabis company.
It is absolutely off the wall nuts, honestly. It is the most fun I've ever had. It is the hardest work I've ever done. I'm very passionate about the industry, so it is a 24/7 thing. But and it's very honestly, it is very high profile here. There's huge dispensaries. Every brand is trying to launch here. Everyone's trying to do everything. It's very cutthroat, but it's a lot of fun.
All right.
When we first met, you talked about like your background a little bit, and I'm wondering how you went into the cannabis industry.
Yeah, I'm from Wyoming, and I've always used cannabis from the time I was about 16, 17. I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression. I was put on antidepressants, and I had a lot of side effects with them that I didn't like. And I noticed that I was basically getting the same effects as the antidepressant using cannabis without the negative side effects. And I was also able to control my dose, I didn't need it every day versus that pill I had to take every day. And so I started using it, but I was very closeted, and I was very much from the generation of, of the fried egg and this is your brain on drugs and my dare officer. And I was like, I'm a bad person. I do drugs. But I was also, getting scholarships into college and going to grad school. And I was like, wow, for this bad person that I am, like, I'm pretty okay. And at the same time, the cannabis industry was starting to evolve, right? And going more mainstream, more white market, or recreational market, I should say. I was able to work with Dr. Carl Hart, who I absolutely, he's a neuropsych guy and is a huge advocate for the plant. And he really taught me a lot about the stigma of it and about and a lot of the pharmaceutical benefits of it, the physiological benefits of the plant. That was where my education really started. From there, I continued to study it. I went to grad school. I learned more about the human body and physiology and the interactions of molecules. And after that, I spent a lot of money on my grad school. So I didn't go right into cannabis. I went into pharmaceutical sales because it was still a molecule. And, I really wasn't as happy. And so 2018 came along. I applied to a cannabis company, got the job. I was very lucky. It was a very large company to work for. And, shout out to Cameron Forney, who founded Select, because he did get me into this industry. And, I'm grateful for that opportunity. And from there, it's just really exploded.
And I think, when you start to understand Las Vegas, it's full on recreational. And, when we met last year, it was my first time going to a place and seeing stuff like that. Planet 13, for those of you who haven't been there, it's like a supermarket of weed. It's amazing. And, when you start to realize that it's not something that, you see everywhere. They had Cannabis Lounge, one of the first ones in the country. Really amazing things, very progressive. To be able to sit there and consume cannabis with people and not have to kind of feel like you're, out of place or wondering if you're going to, be asked to leave. So really neat stuff.
That is a huge topic actually in Vegas right now, is the consumption lounges, because we have a lot of these larger institutions associated with the strip, the alcohol industry, the gaming industry. They're very opposed to the idea of consumption lounges. But at the end of the day, it's not fair to people that are coming to Las Vegas. You're coming here to see the Planet 13s, to see the New Woos, the tasting lounges. And, you can buy cannabis here recreationally everywhere. We have dispensaries are open 24 hours. You can buy a lot of cannabis in 24 hours. And yet there is nowhere for you to consume it as a non-resident of the state. And so that's not very fair. So there's a lot of great groups out there. One that I will mention is the Chamber of Cannabis. They say they are the dopest chamber in America. I believe them. They're buddies of mine, sort of female entrepreneur leaders in the Vegas cannabis space. And they're doing a lot as far as lobbying to get us consumption lounges right now in this state. And I really, it is a huge topic. The same with DUI laws. That's a huge topic right now in Vegas for cannabis. Because right now, if you smoke a joint at Saturday night, and then I drive tomorrow morning somewhere to go to my yoga class and get pulled over and the cop says my eyes are red, I could get a DUI.
Wow, really?
And that's not exactly fair to me.
No.
No.
It's
My
actually
goodness.
not fair to anyone who is,
No.
you know,
I mean, my blood is full of cannabinoids right now. I will not pass that part of a drug test, but that does not mean that I'm impaired in any way.
Right.
So
They don't have a test that measures that. That's the thing. There's no way to measure that using the tests that they have that assess our biology, blood levels, what have you, because the metabolites don't reflect impairment. There are people, and I just saw an article where they were showing dabs versus smoking flower. And, it really is not that much different for people that do this all the time. It's something that when you understand it's the individual and their tolerance level that you're really looking at. I'm not saying that you should go out there and abuse it and go drive, but I'm saying that you can't go out there and give a person a life-changing, thing like a DUI for their eyes being red when you can't really tell, are they impaired? So, at this point, that's a very big point all across the country as it's coming on recreational as well as medical.
Right. Where, I do absolutely agree with you. I think people really want to compartmentalize this and make it a black and white thing of, with alcohol, it's like you're drunk or you're not sort of thing. And yeah, THC, once it becomes a part of your daily habit, to be honest. It is a part of my daily habit. But I don't get necessarily high off of it, quote unquote. And I think people want to equate it to alcohol. Oh yeah, weed, it's cool. It's just like alcohol, no big deal. Honestly, I think alcohol is much more of a big deal, first off. And second off, I don't compare it. I would never get drunk and go work an event in cannabis, but I will get high and work an event because it doesn't impair me in the same way. I shouldn't say get high, I should say consume cannabis, because like I said, it's in my blood enough now, especially selling it in this state the past 3 years, that I don't necessarily feel those intoxicating effects anymore.
So I have as a pro stoner, right? You say how like you smoke now, and you don't really get what people call the high, right?
Right.
Do you find that you only get the high with the newer strains? Like an introduction to a brand new strain.
I mean, it takes a potent little pre-roll, if you will, to get me high. The one that I'm smoking right now, let's see, it is 59% THC.
Oh,
it's an infused pre-roll, obviously. It's got 13.4 milligrams of caryophyllene, 3.3 humulin.
Wow.
It's a good little, this is a powerful little package. So this will, I feel pretty good right now off of a quarter of this.
Megan, I want what you're smoking.
Yes, no, they're very good. They work.
That used to be like a sarcastic thing to say, like, I want what you're smoking. But no, I really want what you're smoking. 59%.
Is that with the diamonds that they grind up and mix?
This is actually a live honeycomb.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. So crumble. It's 75% flour, and it's like real bud premium flour, like 30% testing flour, and then they put 25% honeycomb concentrate in there.
Wow.
So
I can imagine the terpenes just would be amazing with that.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
one thing with the with the way that they sell it, it's here in Florida, everything is packaged. You go there, they have to get it out of the back. It comes in sealed containers, so nobody can actually see it or smell it. And I remember it was so totally different in Las Vegas. you know, in some of the smaller places, you know, you could actually see the weed and pick, you know, what you wanted, which was nice.
Absolutely. Yes. And that's how it should be. You know, smell, flower should, in particular, needs to always be evaluated with all of your senses, right? And smell is such an important aspect. Like I always tell people, just, you know, follow your nose. Your nose knows, because everyone's physiological body is slightly different, right? And your body kind of knows and recognizes what terpene profiles it wants and needs. And as a beginner, as someone that doesn't know, you know, how else are you going to figure it out besides smelling these things? It's very important. And I know, you know, there's some dispensaries out here that were very pioneer in that aspect. MedMen was one of them, you know, even with their, you know, they opened up that big old place on Paradise right there on the strip across from the former Hard Rock. Now it's Virgin. And all the like people were like stealing the weed all the time. I felt so bad for them, but they still kept it out in jars for people to see. Now, with COVID, that is no longer the case. It sucks.
Yeah.
It is what it is, you know?
Yeah.
But
I wonder.
get back to a place where we can have the weed out to smell, right?
Right. I mean, are they not allowing, like, they don't have it behind the case anymore and they're like, let you smell those jars anymore?
Yeah, because of the whole COVID thing, you know, like touching, all that. I get it, but it is unfortunate, you know?
Yeah, I was wondering that because in Florida, they don't really teach us about smell. They really teach us more about the funky names, you know, pineapple upside down cake and, you know.
Yeah, no, smell is, I mean, wouldn't you guys agree? Smell is so important to smell all those different, you know, whatever terpenes you like.
So when I used to go,
you know, most dispensaries in Vegas also, I like the fact that they request live samples of our product. So you actually see the concentrate, you see what, you know, your limoncello honeycomb looks like before you purchase it.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of one of those things that I noticed when going to like a legal state. You know, when I would go to like Colorado, and they would open up the jars, and they would you know let you smell it, and based on smell, you knew your body tells you immediately. Like your hair sometimes wakes up, you know, in your body and just kind of goes, "Ooh, I definitely want some of that." Your body just knows. You can give the same smell to two different people, and it smells different to two different people. Someone else's body will reject it.
What are you into, Gabe? What's your favorite terpene? It's Gabe, right?
Ooh, yes, it is Gabe. That's awesome. Most people say Dave.
I try. See, I still have a good memory, even smoking the cannabis. See, it doesn't affect it.
Yeah, so I would say caryophyllene is probably my most favorite terpene, you know, just because I do like the peppery taste, and I do like to feel it in the back of my throat. You know, that little pepper burn that you get.
Love it.
You know, and
it's the only terp that's also a cannabinoid, right?
Yes.
Love that about it. It's like the super one.
Yeah. So and I also like it because it just really affects my happiness. So I'm, you know, very happy on you know strains that are high in caryophyllene, and yeah, it's just out of all my terpenes, it's actually one of my favorites. Yeah, I'm actually smoking one now that's high in it. It's called Master Kush.
Ooh, yes.
And that is.
I love most things Kush, definitely.
Yeah. What's your favorite?
You know, what I miss in flower is like the super cheesy strains, and like blueberry from back in the day. I hail from the Colorado market, the non-traditional Colorado market, because I'm old. But blueberry back in the day was so good, and I haven't found it since. Not like it was, but these days, what do I like? I don't know. I like a lot of like purple punch kind of, a lot of purple stuff these days.
Yes. They always smell like Hawaiian.
Why not? Although I don't like the term indica.
We have alien purple punch that somebody talked about recently. Super Gabe.
Ooh.
Yeah,
well, I smoked an alien. Oh yeah, this is Alien OG right here that I'm smoking. Yeah.
So imagine that and purple punch crossed together. That's what it is.
That sounds like a dope combo right there.
Yeah. And somebody that I know, Dr. Sulak, was talking to somebody in one of the webinars and mentioned a strain in the Maine area that had blueberry in the name. So you might want to check that out. You might be able to find something in that area if you're ever traveling.
That's the fun thing about strains. Like you would get one, and it's something I hear, from people all the time. And, at least dispensaries are trying to keep it in, but like, your black market has no control of what they get,
Right.
So they get a certain strain and people are like, that was the best strain. And can I get more? And the answer is no, it's all gone. And I hear it from people just like you who say the same thing, like, oh man, there was this one strain. It was called blueberry.
Dude, how important are strains in Florida, would you say?
How important?
Yes, like to customers, to the consumer market. Sorry, it's the marketer in me.
I mean, I know a lot of people that won't buy unless they have a name that they've never even heard of before. If you're like, if you walk into the room and you're like, ladies and gentlemen, I got cheese.
Let me write that down. No.
Right.
They'll sit there and they'll go, wow, I want to know what that tastes like. I'm just curious. Strawberry cough was another one back in the day. People were smoking and it was like, how do you taste like a strawberry?
That name sells itself every time.
Every time. I mean, I know even if there's something else, like Agent Orange is another one of my favorites.
L'Orange. Oh, always.
Oh, so many.
Northern Lights.
Old school ones, Panama Red and Colombian Gold. Have you guys ever had those?
I've never had them, but I hear you old timers constantly talking.
It's something like
Acapulco Gold. That's an old school strain.
Acapulco Gold, yes.
Acapulco, but it was Santa Marta or somewhere like that in Colombia, and there's something about it. I saw Belushi did a show on. He was chasing these seeds down there, and that was the stuff that went around down here back in like the 70s. So something, old school like that, they're looking for them and trying to bring them back. There's so many hybrids now that people are losing things like the blueberries and those other strains that we liked. Everybody has their own things that they identify with, and they're all blends now. But, you were mentioning something about the dispensaries, and one of my favorite things about Las Vegas is that wherever you went, it had a breakdown of what was in the product. So you got to see the cannabinoids and the terpenes, just, not a list of everything. Here, we don't really get any of that. You just get a name.
Right? California doesn't do that either. I was like, where are the terps on this thing? Like, how do you know? I mean, terps are more important for me than the freaking THC, so it's a potent world. I get everyone's chasing potency right now, but I think it's such like, it's just a lack of education at the end of the day. Like, people just don't know. I was the same way. I was like, oh yeah, 90%, let's go, but
that's the
once you sort of become more educated about the plant and the entourage effect that I was talking about the last time, you understand that, I look for certain terp profiles. That's like how I purchase cannabis, generally speaking. And the fact that I was in California recently and I wasn't able to do that, I just had to go off the THC percentage. I was like, really? Yeah, I mean, I went with the bud tender's recommendation, but he recommended the most expensive menu items, interestingly enough.
It's all about the That's what it's come down to, unfortunately. They're getting you to chase that THC content, and it's not really about that it's not even just medicinally. The high doesn't really come from just the THC. What people don't realize, what makes the high is that constellation of all of the different 500 and some odd compounds, cannabinoids, terpenoids, flavonoids in the plant. It's the ratios and everything that your nose attracts you to. That's what's going to give you the feeling that you're desiring. And this is where people don't realize the complexity of medicine. You know, it's a beautiful thing. You know, most people don't realize cannabis is a psychedelic. It's on the low end, but you consume enough of it, you start hallucinating, as Super Gabe could tell us, you know, and, you know, this is something that, that you start to realize that when you have plant medicine and in an understanding of it, you now know what you seek. So what you're saying is when you went to California, you didn't know what particular, you know, strain to select. You know, and that's the beauty. A bud tender that's educated could tell you, okay, so if you like something like, you know, Girl Scout cookies, you should try this. And then they can kind of point you in that direction. But not every bud tender is well trained. And that's the problem that, you know, we need to look at. Educating the individual is what it comes down to, unfortunately. We don't have an industry standard yet. No,
we don't. There's such a lack of education in this industry. Some statistic I read recently was that, you know, 5 times out of 10, the information you're getting from a bud tender is wrong. And I see it. I see dispensaries posting, you know, slightly just off information about the products that, you know, I'm marketing. And it's like, oh, you know, don't know where you heard that, but people just, you know, it still is in such an infancy as a what's the word that I'm looking for? As an industry. Whoa, stoner moment. That, you know, it is what it is, and it really is just the new frontier, and you have to just work to figure it out as you go.
Yeah, it's an ongoing struggle, learning as much. There's actually so much information, guys, on cannabis. There's tons and tons and tons. People like to say there's not enough research. We don't know what's. We know. We've been researching it forever, and there's so much information out there. It's not even funny, and you will find out, you know, because a lot of people think it's more about smoking. You know, a lot of people think about brownies, edibles. What a lot of people don't think about is how much sugar is in those brownies and in those edibles, and it's really going against, you know, your body. You know, you're actually causing more cancer while fighting it. You know, but you can you know, we have a show called Ganja Beach Cooking as well. And we got Chef Mary. I don't know if you saw, we posted up a video. She made us mango soup, which is delicious. I was there for the filming of it, and it was just incredible. And, you know, that was something that she made. She uses mangoes to also help with the delivery of myrcene in the body, and it just helps everything moving on.
Love mangoes for that.
Absolutely. So yeah, this is just like really exciting stuff. And guys, keep tuned, keep watching in at Ganja Beach Medical Center, the cooking show, radio nerds. There's gonna be more. There's more coming. You guys don't even know what's about to happen. Just so much exciting things are happening at Ganja Beach, and you guys are a part of it. Dr. Lonni, you've been an amazing help. Megan, I have a question for you.
Oh, okay.
Drum roll, please.
I must ask you a question. I had a question, but then I got high.
I know, right? Shoot.
So
it's got, what was it? 59%er. Sorry.
Yeah, there you go. And this is only about I think 22. So
yeah, you have to prepare to come to Vegas. We puff pretty tough here.
Is that a challenge?
I'm glad you said that, because I usually say you got to cough to get off.
Right? True. The harder you cough, the higher you get. Everybody knows that.
If you're not crying, you're not doing it right. Okay, so here's so my question for you is, what is your favorite way of using cannabis?
Ooh, okay. So honestly, I really am a concentrate person. Um, I love this little guy right here, my little
Puffco.
Puffco guy. No
Nice.
affiliation with them. I just like it. And yeah, I'm also a mom. Even as a pharmaceutical rep, I was traveling a lot. I was in hotel rooms and I was a stoner, but I needed a very discreet way to consume cannabis, and so I kind of got on cartridges really early in the game. And I think, got on concentrate pretty early in the game. And that really is my method just because of its discreet and also rapid method of consumption.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I'm you're there all by yourself, and my brain can't wrap its mind around it, and I'm like, I'm speaking, but I can't see my lips move. I think I've reached a point in the show where the carothylene has really gone to my cheeks.
I know it has a lot of anti-inflammatory, antiseptic, pain relieving properties, right?
I feel like I'm getting younger by the minute. Look at this.
I feel like it definitely, I think cannabis keeps me, honestly, I feel like it does help my immune system. And I feel like it does keep me young. It's a very young industry,
There's research going on where the doctors in Canada are looking at the different cannabinoids and terpenes in terms of fighting off COVID. And this is something that Gabe and I talked about last year since this whole pandemic. Do you see a lot of the people that use cannabis at high levels regularly catching COVID? I mean, I don't know a lot of those people catching COVID. And that's
I haven't.
to understand. We need research in this area.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, yeah, I really do feel like my immune system is pretty, knock on wood, pretty spectacular these days. And I work from home, but there have been cannabis, private events where I've consumed with people. It's the same smaller circle of people, but still I have, and we're all fine. I don't know. There does absolutely needs to be more research into it for sure. In many different methods of medicine, there's so many ways that I think this plant can help. So where do you, Dr. Lonni, where do you see the cannabis industry going? There's been a lot of talk about the future lately, especially with, everything with the election. We're changing a lot politically. What direction do you see it going 5 years from now? Let's say 10 years.
Question, and I think ultimately you have to legalize this at the federal level. I think it just makes sense. Number one, monetarily, they're going to see that. You already see governors of certain states saying, look, in order to turn around this deficit that we have because of COVID and how this has impacted our state, we legalize cannabis, we can start to use that money to fix things. So I think the wisdom there is just to legalize this. When you understand the hardship that it's caused to, I'm not getting into any of politics, but certain sectors of our society. So legalization and changing, whatever problems they've had, giving them access to things that will stimulate our economy. So I think overall change is coming. The corporate level, is something that I think has been there. And I think what we need to see are small cottage industries where you have small people taking, products and selling them. There are people who, they make some great things here, foods and edibles that, it would be nice to see them sold in dispensaries, so to see things like that, the small industries come up like that. But also, I think in terms of, the future, mental health in particular, psychedelics, plant medicine, the evolution of that. I just did a talk in Orlando on that, where plant medicine is something that people look at as the future, but the reality is it's not the future, it's the past coming back and sort of reinvented and rebranded as the future. This came out, psychedelic assisted and psychedelic integrated therapy came out in the 50s. Most people don't realize that. And that's something that, here today, we're rebranding it and saying, oh my God, it's been there in very small, quiet sectors of the country, but now people are starting to realize the benefits. LSD, psilocybin, MDMA is going to become legal by 2022. It's almost done with the phase 3 FDA clinical trials. So plant medicine is the future, man. The word of caution, to take something like plant medicine and put it in a pill form and try and replicate it like that, it takes away the spiritual part. And that's my warning, is that, yeah, you don't do that. There are some people that I think need it, but I don't think that's the thing for the masses. I think you need the respect. You need to understand setting, and intent. Just the difference between recreational use and somebody that's using cannabis medicinally. I mean, I'm not going to tell a person no to go out and buy a 59% pre-roll. It's something that they don't need. It's something that would be fun, don't get me wrong, but medicinally, we're going to use more CBD. We're going to use ratios of CBD to THC to prevent intoxication and so forth. But that's the beauty, okay, is that we all get what we need from the plant. Recently, I got frustrated with families that can't afford CBD, the high cost, and the hemp flower is not expensive. So learning how to take that and transform it into something useful, like your own oils, tinctures, butters, whatever, man. And it's low cost, and you can bring this into your life and heal yourself. So, that's the beauty, is learning about these things and sharing it with people. But the corporate end, I think they're going to catch on, and there's a huge future in this for them. They're going to make pills out of it, and they're going to try and get people to consume it in different ways. That's my prediction. Right.
I mean, I definitely see the potential for it to go entirely pharmaceutical, honestly, which I hope doesn't happen. I hope that there's still a recreational place for brands for the people that want the 59% pre-rolls, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's safer than alcohol. I mean, there's so many just whatever recreational uses to it. Let's say it's social, it's whatever. I would hope that aspect of it remains. And then also it goes into some pharmaceutical lands of, and then it, like you were saying, it goes into the land of, yeah, you can grow 6 plants in your closet and make tea with that, or whatever your medicinal needs are, have a small hemp farm in your backyard, and just utilize it in that way for the everyday person,
Mm-hmm.
Well, my concern is what you just brought up a second ago, Megan. This is where this administration is, supposedly, I guess, favorable towards cannabis legalization. But when you really read it, and if you look at the Marijuana Policy Project, they posted articles about this where, no, they're going to reclassify it to a Schedule 2 from Schedule 1, which means that it's not going to be recreational. It's not going to be, something that everyone has. It's the pharmaceutical companies that are going to have it. And that is an important problem that we need to focus on. It's not what we want. It's not something that they should have full dominion over. So unfortunately, that's what he's looking at. And this is where we need people to really kind of understand that's something to take seriously when it comes time to, express your opinions.
No, absolutely. And those pharmaceutical, I mean, I remember my first national sales, event with my pharmaceutical company. Cannabis was kind of a joke. Like, I remember someone saying on stage, hardy har har, the cannabis industry is so silly. But then by the last one I was at, it was kind of more like, whoa, that cannabis industry. Oh, that cannabis industry over there. I remember, my former pharmaceutical sales manager would say that I'll be one of the hottest reps in oncology in the next 5 years, for my background in both. I, agree. I hope that it doesn't go that route, at least not entirely. Not that I don't want to help people that are in need of oncology services, because I absolutely do. And I absolutely think this plant can. I just hope it doesn't go the way of Big Pharma, because I know what Big Pharma is. And there's nothing about helping patients with Big Pharma at the end of the day.
love it. I love it. Guys, that's actually all the time that we have for tonight. We just want to thank Megan Panameno. She is the Main Street Mary Jane. Is that right? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Main Street Mary Jane on Instagram, Facebook. Make sure to follow her. We got Dr. Lonni with Dr. Lonni CBD from the Ganja Beach Medical Center. And of course, the host with the most, me, Super Gabe Osborne, Ganja Beach Radio. Keep an eye out. Make sure to visit ganjabeachmedia.com if you want to check out the new cookbook that is coming out. We are days away from the actual release of the Ganja Beach cookbook. It's being released any day now, so make sure to go and get your book, get your copy, because they're already running out. It's insane. So make sure to go look at that, Ganja Beach Media. And that's also where you find all these extra episodes. You're going to see Dr. Lonnie's Medical Center. You're going to have Nerds with Ricky. And, of course, Chef Mary with Ganja Beach Cooking. Guys, have a very good night. Adios. Buenas noches. Arrivederci. Ding dong day.
Thank you so much. Appreciate seeing you guys. Great chatting.
Have a good night, guys.
Bye-bye. Thank you,
Ganja
everybody.
Beach. Find your beach.
Interessante. Muy interesante.